Hi there, my name is Elise Castonguay with ABC Scrapbookers. The ABC Scrapbookers is because those are my initials and also that I am an elementary school teacher when I am not playing with scrapbooking paper. Today I'm going to show you how to create the vintage chic project recipe using the Welcome Baby paper pack. Welcome Baby Blue paper pack. One of the reasons that I enjoy printing project recipes in black and white is that I use them as formulas, as my customers know. And I enjoy trying to be frugal with my paper, which is one of the reasons I like this layout so much. I also feel like we get collections like Welcome Baby Blue, and sometimes we're not sure how to use just 6 pieces of paper. In the case of today, we're going to be using 3 of these, so you could create this layout twice using a different punch, and you just need an extra sheet of cardstock, and you'll have used up every piece of paper from this pack. In addition, I'm going to be using the Elegant Diamond Border Punch. You can use any punch that is a chain, and when I say chain, it means it does not connect at the top or the bottom. You could use Border Maker cartridges as well. You will also need your 12-inch trimmer. I recommend using tape chips and repositionable adhesive, but you can use what best suits your needs. And finally, the photo placement bonus bundle comes with these 7 sets of mats, 25 in each size from 4x6 to 2x2. You also get a free organizational case to keep them in. You can also use those for photographs if you like. And this is the layout that you will be creating today. You're going to need 3 sheets of designer paper and a sheet of cardstock. And one of the reasons that you need the tape chips, or you can weld with a piece of paper. Here is where I put my tape chips. I use the tape chips because I place my layouts on traditional pages. If you use drop-in pages, you might choose to weld instead. And as you can see here, I use the 4x6 and the 6x4 photo mats. When you do go to choose your papers today, I chose one that is more of a muted tone-on-tone because I knew I was going to be placing stronger contrasting paper here and here. And the reason that I chose this paper is I knew that when I reversed, because you will need to reverse these 2 pieces. Not mandatory, but it does add extra to the paper, to the layout. Make sure that you are cutting so that your pattern is going the way that you want it.
So I'm going to walk you through the steps. What you'll need for this layout is a piece of cardstock. And so since I chose this very monochromatic Welcome Baby Blue paper pack, I'm choosing the blue cardstock. And then you're going to need 2 base papers, and you're going to be cutting each of them in half at 6 inches. And so half of each page will be on the right and half will be on the left. So I picked one that is pretty neutral and one that is more patterned, because what will happen is with the neutral one, you're going to be laying on another paper. And so to layer this on top of this pattern will look really nice. If I had chosen something like this, I think it might get lost. Although I am a big fan of this ombre, so you might choose to use this instead. So let's get started. And as I mentioned, this is, I didn't say specifically, but this is designer paper number 3. So the first thing we're going to do is, and we also need a punch, we're going to be using the Elegant Diamond today. You're going to get started by taking out your cardstock. And the first thing we're going to do is punch it at 2 inches. Now, once again, you could use any border punch that releases like this one does. And when I say release, it means it does not stay attached to the paper. And with this Elegant Diamond one, the very first time you punch it, you line up the design with the very first, you line up your paper design with the very first punch design on the punch itself. And then from there on in, you will line it up with the 2 tabs and the design. So you just keep on sliding it over. I am thinking that this will also look quite beautiful with winter collections. This would make a lovely snowflake as well as this elegant diamond. So there is one, and it does leave these tiny little nubs. So I'm just going to snip them off so that I don't have to, so they don't impact my punch. You could also do this on your straight trimmer. And then repeat the same punch. First one on that first tab, and then lining it up on the double tab each time. All right, there are my 2 punched pieces. And you do need to cut those at 6 inches. So I'm going to do that right now. I will cut them at 6 inches. And oftentimes, when I can, I will stack a paper just to save myself some time. Sometimes stacking takes more time, so do what works best for you. There's my 6-inch cut. Okay, then with my leftover cardstock, I am going to cut at 4 inches. As my directions say right here. And then I am going to slide and cut at 4.5 inches. Then going back to my 4-inch strip, I'm going to rotate this and I'm going to cut at 6 inches. And I will be creating 2 4x6 mats. And sometimes I just double check the second part, and it matches exactly that I do have a 6-inch piece. And then I'm going to rotate my 4.5-inch piece and also make 4.5-inch squares. So here's one. I'm going to slide and repeat that 4.5-inch cut. And that is the end of my cardstock cuts. The next thing is, as I showed you earlier, you're going to take designer papers 1 and 2, and I'm choosing to stack them. And I'm going to be having these stand side by side. So if you do have a particular direction, this is the direction you're going to see your paper in. So if direction matters to you, just make sure that it is vertical, and that is the direction you will be laying it also out on your page. That's it. That's the cut there. And then with designer paper number 3, you have to decide which pattern you want to see, because we're going to be, once again, this is going to be a 2 3/4 inch cut. So it will be laying like this across your page. So you have to decide, do you like the way this looks? Or would you prefer that your 2 3/4 inch went horizontally? And sometimes that's a hard decision to make. For me, I'm choosing vertically because later on, I'm going to be using the reverse side of this page for the mats, and I would rather have this go across my page like this. So I'm going to be cutting my 2 3/4 inch in this direction. So if you have a directional side on the back side, please double check it, because you will be using the reverse side when you go to make that cut. Now, because I would like my 2 pieces to be the same, I'm rotating this piece, and I'm going to cut my second 2 3/4 inch cut so that they will both be identical. All right, now I have this one last piece, and I'm going to cut it at 4.5 inches. No, I apologize. I'm going to take this last piece, and I'm going to cut it at 6.5 inches. Good thing I double checked on that one. 6.5. I missed a step when I wrote my directions. So you're just trimming off that teeny tiny piece. So this is at 6.5 inches. Now I'm going to rotate to make those 4.5 inch mats that I was talking about earlier. So there's your 4.5 inch and your 4.5 inch. So once again, these are 6.5 by 4.5, and that is the end of your cutting. Now, sometimes I assemble after the video, but I am going to try to see how quickly I can assemble this. Sometimes I dry fit and then adhere it all together at the end. I'd like to suggest that you have a couple of options when you go to weld these pieces. You can either simply cut a 1/2 inch strip, 2 1/2 inch strips of this, and adhere them to the back. And that is where you can weld your pieces together. You can also use tape chips, which is what I typically do. And then I'll put, right behind this, I'll put 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then when I go to adhere these later on to my layout in my album, to my pages, they're stuck together. If you do drop-in pages, you might choose to adhere the strip behind it, and that way it makes your paper a little more solid. I know I'm going to be adhering these right to my layout. Okay, so you lay out your 2 6-inch pieces to my page. I keep saying the wrong word. And then you're going to lay your 2 3/4 inch strips on the outside, followed by those beautiful strips that you cut. So 2 of these will go across the top. And 2 of these will go across the bottom. And I do adhere these with repositionable adhesive, which is absolutely perfect on a design like this, where you have lots of holes in it. And then for your cardstock pieces, your 4.5 inch mats will go here and here, and also here and here. And then your larger 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats will go right here. Now, one of the reasons I brought up this collection is some people think when it's called a particular collection like Welcome Baby, that is exactly how you need to use it. This would be good for any occasion where you need to use blue. And if you love this, but you'd like to see it in purple, all you have to do is grab Welcome Baby blue paper. I would like to point out that if you haven't purchased these are fabulous, these mats. They come for $26.50. You get 7 sets of these. They range in size from 4 by 6 to 3x3, I believe. I should double check. It might even be 2x2. I think it is. And it just helps you. I use a little bit of repositionable on the middle of these. But by putting them here, you get an idea of exactly what size photograph you will need. And just to confirm, they do go down to 2x2s. I haven't used that size yet. But because these were 4.5 by 4.5, just gonna pop the 4x4s. If you have your photographs ready, you don't need to do this, but this is fabulous so that it just reminds you what size you're going to trim without your needing to pull out the ruler later on. And then of course, I do need to add some embellishments once I figure out what my theme is, but in the meantime, this could be for any theme. Thank you for watching.